Pope Francis is spending his first full day in Canada. This afternoon, he arrived at the site of a former Indigenous residential school. He delivered a long-awaited in-person apology for the Catholic Church's, quote, devastating role in a policy to assimilate Native peoples into society.
Esperaba que llegara este momento para estar entre ustedes.
A representative from the North American country's Indigenous peoples who is a survivor of the former schools run by the church greeted the Holy Father. Pope Francis also returned a pair of moccasins worn by a girl who had died at one of the schools. Representatives from the Indigenous community also met the Holy Father yesterday when he arrived in Edmonton. The meeting inside of an airplane hangar began the 6-day journey. The 85-year-old Pope will also visit Quebec City and the capital of Nunavut in the north. Joining us now is Andreas Thonhauser, EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief. Andreas, great to see you. Can you give us an update about the Pope in Canada?
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. Well, while most people here in Europe are enjoying or at least are thinking about their vacations, Pope Francis continues to have a busy schedule. Just yesterday, he left for Canada. Today, he spent in Edmonton, Alberta. This is the most critical part of his trip, as we've heard from our correspondents who are covering this papal journey. I also spoke just a few minutes ago with our Vatican expert, Andrea Galeoducci, who is traveling on the plane with the Pope. He will give us his personal update tomorrow, but he already told me that the interest in the visit is extremely high, not least because Pope Francis has called it himself a penitential pilgrimage, in which he is apologizing to the Indigenous peoples. Before he left Rome, Tracy, Pope Francis did publish another apostolic letter as a so-called motu proprio. This is a type of papal decree which in this case is intended to change a church rule. The letter titled Ad Charisma Tuendum addresses Opus Dei.
And Andreas, I understand the document was released just on Friday. Why, did the Pope release it now? And also there really hasn't been a lot of media attention about it.
Well, that's correct, Tracy. It's related to the new constitution that reformed the Roman Curia, or central government of the Holy See, that took effect on June the 5th. In the now published letter, Pope Francis rules that the personal prelature of Opus Dei is going forward will be under the oversight of the dicastery for the clergy. The prelate who leads Opus Dei will have to submit an annual report to the head of the dicastery. He will also not be ordained a bishop, which was common for his predecessors. Before, there was more independency for the only personal prelature in the Catholic Church. It was St. John Paul II who gave this special status to Opus Dei. Our expert, Andrea Galeoducci from the EWTN Vatican Bureau, recently pointed out that Pope Francis has used the form of the apostolic letter to convey an authoritative opinion quite frequently. This is the 84th letter the Pope has issued. And when it comes to expressing the Pope's teachings authority, his magisterium, an apostolic letter ranks 4th in the hierarchy of pontifical documents. The most important would be an apostolic constitution, followed by a papal encyclical, and then an apostolic exhortation. The apostolic letter requires less effort and does not undergo a lengthy approval process. It could be compared to an executive order. Probably that's the closest thing. And Pope Francis has primarily used this form to express his thoughts and decisions.
And Andreas, before I let you go, yesterday was also World Grandparents' Day, another topic that is really dear to Pope Francis. Can you talk to us more about that?
Sure. Because of his early flight leaving for Canada, Pope Francis was not able to celebrate the second World Day of Grandparents and the Elderly in St. Peter's Basilica. After all, he introduced this day last year personally. And the day is celebrated from now on every year on the 4th Sunday of July, around the feast of Saints Joachim and Anne, the grandparents of Jesus, of course, which falls usually on July 26th. But Pope Francis did address it on the way to Canada during his in-flight Angelus prayer. Grandfathers and grandmothers, he said, and I quote, are those who have transmitted history, traditions, customs, and so many other things. Young people, he said, must have contacts with their grandparents.
Well, Andreas, thank you so much for that report. Always great to be with you. Andreas Thonhauser, EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief. Thank you again.